Everything we see around us is illusion. It's not important. It's make-believe. The important things in life can't be seen, like the corners.
What is happening? Something is going on. Can you feel the way?
Welcome to Spiral Into It this evening. I'm extremely honored to be speaking with Maurice Cotterell, and we're going to be talking this evening about his theories of astrogenetics and the Mayan civilization, solar cycles, and all kinds of amazing work that he's been doing. How do I sound? Are you there with us, Mr. Cotterell?
Yes, I am here. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks. Thanks for being here this evening. I thought we'd start by, if you could just give us a brief history or overview of how you became interested in this fascinating material.
It was just after I started the sunspot calculations that I realized that the effect that solar radiation could have on the brain, the pineal gland, and I started to put all the pieces together into the astrogenetic theory, and it became quite clear that it was when it really all began in 1957 with James Van Allen, the American engineer, who discovered the belts of radiation around the Earth, the Van Allen belts, which capture particles emitted from the sun. The next sort of leap in our understanding happened in 1962 when Mariner 2 spacecraft relayed data to Earth, which showed radiation coming off the sun in 4 quadrants. In other words, it recognized the sun has 4 7-day fields of magnetic activity which scan the Earth every time the sun rotates, and it rotates once every 28 days if you're standing on the Earth. Mm-hmm. In 1979, an English professor, Ian Nicholson, discovered that when these particles impinge upon the Van Allen belts, the magnetic field, the geomagnetic field on the Earth's surface changes in sympathy with the particle bombardment. And the last piece of the puzzle was in 1984. The penultimate one was in 1984 when Dr. Ross Adey, who was the medical chief of staff to the Reagan administration, discovered that varying magnetic fields affect the manufacture of the timing hormone melatonin. There was a report in the Times which came, I think it was in 1986, it was 1984, where a team at the Naval Medical Research Institute at Bethesda, Maryland, led by Dr. Lieboff, discovered that changing magnetic fields cause mutations to test tube baby experiments. So that was really the last piece in the puzzle. Putting all these pieces together, it became clear that all of the scientific advances had already been made by others. What I was doing was sort of putting them all together and giving us a coherent picture of what was actually happening. And what was happening, or seems to be happening, is that radiation is showered from the sun. It impinges on the Earth's Van Allen belts. The magnetic field varies in sympathy with the particle bombardment. The magnetic variations, of which there are 12 every year, cause genetic mutations in early impregnated ovum at the moment of conception and thereabouts for 90 days, certainly, and possibly for the full period of cell division whilst the baby is in the womb.
Fascinating.
Now, then I realized that I looked at the hormones, the picture of the hormones, the estrogen, progesterone, during the 28-day cycle, together with the luteinizing hormone and the follicle-stimulating hormone, and compared this to the 28-day emission from the solar surface, and I got 100% correlation from these, which showed quite clearly that every time the sun rotates on its axis every 28 days, it causes the amount of follicle-stimulating hormones in females to vary in sympathy. So it's quite clear that the sun causes menstruation in females. And of course, ancient civilizations, the sun-worshipping civilizations, we're talking about the Egyptians, the Mayans, and the Peruvians, all worshipped the sun as the god of fertility, as the god of astrology, of course. And we now know that the 12 types of radiation through genetic mutations cause 12 types of personality. So all the pieces came together, and here we have a complete picture which explains hitherto unknown astrological mechanisms and also fertility mechanisms, and explains why the ancient civilizations worship the sun. And of course it tells us that they were in possession of an understanding of science which is beyond our own of today. And clearly that knowledge appears to have been lost over the years through perhaps catastrophe brought about by solar magnetic reversals, because as the sun's magnetic field reverses every 3,740 years, it tends to twist the Earth off its axis and tilt the Earth, and that brings catastrophe. Not every 3,740 years, because there are other variables to take into consideration. But certainly the Mayans predicted their own demise in 750 AD, and they knew that it would come 3,740 years after their calendar began, which was around 750 AD. And that, in a nutshell, is how it works and how I got interested in it.
Fascinating.
The word Maya is an ancient Sanskrit word. It means illusion. And what the Mayans were trying to tell us was that everything we see around us is illusion. It's not important. It's make-believe. The important things in life can't be seen, like the corners. We can't even begin to understand life unless we see the things which are invisible, the spiritual side of life.